Alright, I'm in Guadeloupe in CRA, which is like a immigration detention thing. Been here for 4 or 5 days. I think I was deported from San Barthélemy on what was it? 29th, Saturday. Supposed to be off the island on Monday. I think I was deported on Saturday, let's say. Saturday, week-ish, sounds about right. So it was taken to St. Martin, which is where I was headed before I got deported. Lovely journey, some friendly gendarmes, and then spent a night in like a similar place here, but in St. Martin, and then got a flight from St. Martin to here, and been here since. Well, between here and court, two different courts here, and yeah, I mean it's like relatively best, to be honest. Got a roof over my head, 3 meals a day, and access to internet and charge, and you can smoke and stuff. It's not the end of the world. It's actually quite relaxing compared to St. Barts in a way. I mean, like I love the island, but fuck me, it's a bit intense sometimes. So yeah, I just got a decision from the second court that says that it like upholds their initial deportation decision, which was to deport me from French territory and to prevent me from returning to French territory for a year. Because, well, this is where it gets murky. Because because I didn't have a stamp, didn't have the correct stamp in my passport. And I arrived to St. Barts on a sail yacht. And le patron, he went to do the check-in. It's pretty standard. You don't all go, not all the crew go to do the check-in. He went to the check-in, did the check-in was done. Yeah, checked in, was there. And was on the island for a bit. I ended up leaving the boat because our thing had kind of run its course. It wasn't like a paid job. It was never the idea. Well, the loose agreement was just to get the boat to St. Barts, which we did. Arrived on my birthday, which was quite poetic because that was more or less when I arrived in the Caribbean the first time around, this time last year. So yeah, it was all pretty kosher. I think it is still, like, I don't get what the French legal system's doing, but so had the court out here, managed to get the documents that, as far as I'm aware, is all what you need. You get, it's not a stamp in the passport, but it's a stamp there's a stamp saying that I checked in to, or that we, the crew, checked into St. Barts. So I've got a stamp from the Port Authority saying, yeah, you're in. And it doesn't have a visa date on it. Like, my understanding is as a British national, by default, like unless otherwise stated, you get 90 days within the last 180, which I haven't flouted. Sort of luckily, like I hadn't been checking that, I'll admit, but that's just cosmic fortune, isn't it, really? Like I could, had I not been stopped by the police and stuff, I could quite easily have overstayed without realising it. So yeah, went to court yesterday, I think, maybe the day before, and sort of told my story, and with the lady lawyer, who seemed very competent, spoke well, from what I understood. Didn't follow it all because even though my French is good, like intelligent people speaking French quickly can be hard to follow. There was a translator. Yeah, and so I was kind of astounded when I got the decision today. Like I was hearing like, oh, it's a good decision. So I was like, oh, sweet, well, good. But I guess it means that I'm not supposed to be in. I'm supposed to go elsewhere and not be in France or like whatever French thing is. Yeah, a bit of a clusterfuck, really. I mean, then I also got into a situation that's hard for me to explain, kind of without sounding insane, in St. Barts, where I boarded a boat where it's the bucket, big race, big sailing race in St. Barts, and there were some big boats still left. I mean, there were big boats there most of the time anyway, but there were boats left there from the race. There was a boat there, and I, cutting a long story short, I felt that there was someone being fucked with. I heard that there was someone had a knife to someone's throat on the boat, and it didn't sound like a joke, and I was pretty uncomfortable with it. Like I don't, as a skipper and someone who generally like respects maritime law and stuff, or what I know, that I don't just like hop onto boats willy-nilly. And but the passerelle was down, no crew to be seen. It kind of seemed like a I don't know, it seemed like a setup. Well, it seemed like I was supposed to go onto the boat, basically. So I went on to kind of diffuse this situation, whatever was going on. Like I felt like if I didn't go on, then I would, and something went. I was thinking initially, I'll just like sit in the port and wait see who comes off the boat and stuff. But then I was like, well, what if a fucking body bag comes off the boat? It's not. That won't be a good morning, will it? So I went onto the boat, and then went down. No crew I could see. Went down into big boat, 150 odd foot sailing super yacht. Borrasca. If anyone knows it, I don't know. I need to figure out whether I'm going to chase up things on there. I went in to like knock on the cabins and see if I could like diffuse whatever was going on without anyone getting killed. And first cabin was like a crew cabin, or I saw like it was a male and it looked like a single bed, so like soft sleeping, so I kind of like shut the door again. Next cabin I saw looked like female legs. Didn't see if there was someone else in bed, but it was like calm, mellow, nothing going on, so like shut the door. Next cabin, where it gets fucking weird, I see ex-girlfriend of mine, who I haven't seen in years at this point, and like an older gentleman, grey foxy, silver fox, grey fox, whatever the fuck we call it, character. And so I just like make eye contact with the ancienne copine. I mean, she looked to me, I looked at her. Again, nothing was like, it wasn't rapey, didn't seem to be, nothing, so I left. And at this point I've been kind of vagabonding it on St. Barts since I left the boat. Staying with some friends. I'd spent a night with some friends on another boat, and some other friends on the island had put me up for a few nights and stuff, and it was by choice. It's a tropical island, you sleep under the stars when it's not raining, it's pretty beautiful. So it was kind of the end of my tether, so I was like, right, I'm on the boat, I'm not causing any harm. I'm fucking knackered. I'm just gonna go to sleep. So yeah, it was a cabin that wasn't made up, like no sheets and bed or anything. So I just lay down, and then I was still hearing, or like in whispery communication with whoever else was on the boat. But at this point, yeah, the chronology's all a bit fucked because I ended up getting arrested. The captain came through. Oh, I didn't know he was captain at the time, but a big English lad came through and just looked at me and said, like, you need to get off the boat, like, now. But not in a, I don't know, he didn't, not with much authority. It was more of a request, like, please get off the boat now and we'll deal with things. And so I thought that we were going to go off the boat and then he would explain what was going on and it would be sweet. And because I'd also heard that I would have been like invited onto the boat, like, yeah, you've got to come on, you've got to go onto the boat, as in if you don't, you're a pussy, basically. And then with all the knife to throat stuff, then it amped up and it became not you'll be a pussy, it's like you're actually being negligent in your, don't know, compassion as a human. If you don't, yeah, if you haven't got, you know, you've got self-preservation, I get that, but there didn't seem much threat to me. I'm not particularly, I didn't feel, yeah, I felt, well, it's hard to explain. Anyway, I went with the captain. I still had had some bags in there, went with him aft deck, and then some more crew appeared, and they kind of like, I figured there I was going to get an explanation as to what was going on. And then yeah, it's like kind of trying to box me or like edge me off the boat. And yeah, I wasn't really in a mood to, I mean, it was fairly obvious, I would say, that he was, well, I don't know, he might not be the captain, I'm pretty sure he was. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't in uniform or anything, there was no uniformed crew, it could have all been a fucking scam, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it was, but so I think I explained to him, I was like, mate, I think like there's some heavy shit going on, like people being abused and whatnot on the boat, and I'm not like really comfortable with that. Like, and I think I asked him to call the police. I don't think he even fucking mentioned it because of probably the aforementioned stuff that was going on that he or the crew or whatever may or may not have been complicit in. And yeah, so I went with them off the boat and I'd asked them to call the police. They eventually called the police. I think I had to ask a few more times. So I didn't have my phone was still on the boat. I was like, well, can you bring my stuff? I went and sat in the port and there's a couple of the crew, well, I mean, like, all of the crew might have been cool in other circumstances, but a couple of the lads who'd been out drinking or more chill or more friendly. There's a Greek lad who I pissed off a bit, I think probably by trying to speak Greek to him, and my Greek's a bit rusty, and I don't know, he maybe thought I was taking a piss or something, or he might have just been like scared about the whole situation. Anyway, eventually, yeah, I just wanted to fucking smoke a spliff and chill out because my nerves were a bit jangly at this point. And it'd been quite a night up until then as well. I nearly got into a fight with a bloke who pretended to pull a gun on me. Decided to mash my fists into each other because I didn't want to start a fight and had too much energy to not do anything. And then yeah, so eventually my stuff, well, no, I go back because my stuff wasn't forthcoming, and they're rifling through all my shit, like through my bags and stuff, or my bag. So yeah, managed to get my things back off them, and then I go and sit, and there's some like big concrete blocks, which is where I nearly got into this fight with some dickhead, basically, to be honest. Don't know how else to describe it. That was pretty dicky behaviour, really, pretending to put a gun on someone. and then yeah, so I was just sat up there, kind of doing my best to be mellow, and a couple of the crew were, so they were wound up because, like, I suppose they were maybe in, because someone had left the pass roll down, and you're not really supposed to do that, are you? Or if you do, then you have like someone on pass roll watch to make sure that what happened couldn't happen. I was chatting to them. One of them was giving me the third degree a bit, wound me up, just acting very police officery, and I was like, mate, like, just wait for the police to get here, and then they can do the policey bit, and you can do the crewy bit. But I think they were just a bit pissed, maybe. Fair enough, innit? Night off, like, go out and drink. And then eventually, yeah, the gendarme turn up, captain, and but I mentioned I wasn't letting go of the whole what the fuck is going on the boat thing, and I was like, well, I think people are like being raped on your boat, so maybe you might want to deal with that. And then he was like, there have been allegations. It's not our boat. It's like, which boat is it? It's like, it's not our boat. It's like, all right, maybe the alcohol isn't doing any favours at this point. But yeah, I think he was doing his best to tread that line between being fired and like not covering stuff up and covering, I don't know, it's a weird industry to work in, isn't it? Lots of power and influence and money and shit that happens, and not wanting to be blackballed or blacklisted, and I don't know, but yes, the cops turn up. I don't know if I knew them from before, but anyway, they were pretty chill, despite the fact they're all like, well, they're like, they've got cameras, haven't they, and stuff, which actually weirdly puts me at ease, because you know that there's some evidence of what's going on. I mean, the whole port's covered in cameras as well, so I've probably got to chase that up, but I basically ended up being arrested and going to, well, no, I kind of actually went with them, so I think I felt safer with them, but then yeah, I was thinking that, well, I didn't know how to approach it, because if it is a abuse situation, no disrespect to police, but things can get messy. It was already like a crew of 5 or 6 lads, 2 male police officers. Yeah, go and search the boat. Someone's being raped. Try not to get involved though. Like, not that simple, is it? Especially when you throw like NLP and alters and police programming and all sorts of shit into the mix. So yeah, just went with the police station, and then put in garde à vue, which I guess garde à vue, which I guess is the French equivalent of custody, basically, or like, I don't know, there's probably an English equivalent. And yeah, I was a bit miffed that they wouldn't give me a cell with no light, which, yeah, nighttime, alright, but it's nice to have that option. And no pen or paper or any like rights, so I couldn't it was already a pretty long and complicated story, and yeah, I still haven't put all the pieces together, so I need to do, but yeah, so declined a meal because I felt like I needed to think straight, and I can think more clearly when I've got an empty stomach or fasting. So slept, or like did some headstands, which calms me down, and then yeah, come morning, lots of paperwork, lots of signatures, a lot of them signed on faith, because it's like, yeah, well, and then yeah, in the morning I was free, and they said, well, they confiscated some ganja, confiscated that, gave me like a verbal warning, and told me that I needed to leave the island by Monday, which was when my 90 days would have been up. So yeah, I left. And then that day, another big day of figuring things out about the island and how special it is in some ways, special in many ways, but it's beautiful is the only way I can describe it. It's this madly intoxicating mix of brutality and beauty. You've got all these high-end boutiques and beautiful people and beautiful clothes and delicious food and alcohol and drugs coming out of your nose or going up your nose. And then, quite a lot of, I don't know how to describe it, it's probably not murder, but just a lot of people who probably turn up on the island and then don't make it off the island. Which, this is where it gets complicated, and I'm not sure how much I want to talk about it, to be honest, but I think it's just sort of some sort of consensual Squid Game situation, which I hadn't watched until I arrived here and decided I'd better give it a watch. Call it a sushi game more than Squid Game. Basically, I mean, there's a lot of, it's a powerful island, lots of wealth and influence. I think a lot of dark things go down. I think there's a lot of abuse of people of all ages and a lot of sort of barbaric things that go down. Like a sort of elite depopulation strategy, but also a way for people to get themselves out of debt, into debt, so mirror some sort of Squid Game analog. And yeah, spent that evening at like a fast food place on the island called Yumi, which is where it's by the airport and like it's a bit of a hub, people come and go, it's by the petrol station, it's open 24 hours a day and good place to pick up a bit of gossip on the grapevine or to hear lots of whispers. And that was the night that, I'd already been to a hotel where I'd heard different bits and pieces about the game and how it works, and it's basically like a social alienation game. It's about learning when to talk and when not to talk, and how to talk, when to talk respectfully, to when to vouvoier, to call someone the formal you, which is also the plural you, and when to tutoir, it's the informal you. And in French that also means to kill. Tuer is to kill. And the gist of it is that it's about invoking demons and spirits and other people. If you voo someone, then that kind of enables other people to back them up and to bail them out and to talk. If you tutoir someone, you're kind of singling them out, and if they don't reply and that kind of kills the conversation, then they are sort of socially killed in a sense. And I think energetically there's another element to it. So that goes on, or at least went on. It's possible that it was all a very, very elaborate setup, and it's something that used to go on the island that goes on no more. But that would have to have been one hell of a choreographed, coordinated, extraordinary effort on a lot of people's parts, and I felt things that night and the following morning and over those days that like chills down my spine and goosebumps that I don't think I would have felt were it not very, very real. I don't know how I feel about it. Like on some level it like disgusts me, and on another level I see the value to it in a world that's very, if it's consensual, that's really all. Like if people know what they're getting themselves into, it's also it's the locals, because they've been like, I don't know how it works. There's also you got Satanism in the mix, and like a lot going on, and without having access to all the CCTV cameras on the island, you know, I got one point of view, and I've spent a bit of time on the island, you know, probably, you know, but it's months, not years, and I was completely oblivious for most of it, or up until my last 2 weeks. I mean, I spent 3 months on the island last year, and yeah, I mean, I knew that it was like statistically very unlikely that heavy stuff wasn't going on, just because of all the amounts of power and influence and intoxication and stuff. But I didn't realise there was like an organised element to it. You know, I thought it was probably more like rape in villas and stuff. Didn't realise there was a whole infrastructure. And so that night I then got a lift to headed back to Gustavia, and I got a lift with a chap who I'd met before on a scooter. It was weird. I was kind of, I didn't really need a lift. I could have walked, but he seemed in a spot of bother because he didn't seem in great shape, like kind of drunk, tired, and one or two, or like low on energy. And I figured it'd be a bit of a pick me up if he gave me a lift. I wasn't like, give me a lift. I was, kind of like, oh, where are you going? And he was like, where are you going? I'll like kind of offer him to give me a lift. And I was like, just, wherever you are, like that way sounds good. Just to kind of get him out of where he was. Because it was like at this time, 5 a.m. or something, and I just had visions of him being sat on his scooter, just semi-catatonic, and maybe ending up as sushi or something. Yeah, I don't know, I didn't have pretty visions of that. And get on the back of his scooter, barefoot, quite a big bag, and decided that it'd be best to go blind, as in just to like close my eyes and give him my energy from the pillion seat, and then to drive. And it seemed to be going well. And then actually, I think it was when I thought, like, I felt like he was going a bit too fast, and I think I either said like, oh, that's a bit fast, like in my head, that's a bit fast, or like slow down, and then we crashed, and somehow was relatively fine. I mean, I mashed up my toe a bit, but I think the scooter was fine. He seemed fine. So I went and like hugged a tree for a bit and did my best not to look at my feet. And he went like off and didn't fall over and seemed fine. And then went and slept. Well, I didn't sleep, but found some aloe vera, sorted my foot out as best I could, and then went to Red Cross, deposited some clothes, picked up some clothes. They gave me some flip-flops because I don't have any shoes. And then, but my foot was still pretty mashed up, and so I needed to swim, or to like, I just wanted to wash it off and dive and like calm down. The beaches are quite shallow, it's hard to get to any depth, like, and just like swimming it 2 meters isn't really going to do the trick. So I wanted to swim in the port, and I went and swam in the port. I was trying to do it like low key, but nothing really it's not very easy to do things low key on some Barts. And went in, visibility was pretty shite anyway, so but I had a mask and snorkel on me, went for like a little dive down to 2-3 meters. Anyway, when I came up, the director of the port was there, and he was like, what are you doing? You need to get out of there, you can't swim here. Trying to explain, or was thinking about making something about my iPhone, and I was like, alright, fine. So and I didn't want to cause a scene, so I got out, and then that was that. I was going to go to Shell Beach. He suggested going to Shell Beach, and he said it gets quite, actually it does. It's one of the beaches that is deeper. Like, you can get a lot of the beaches on St. Barts, you can go out long way, and you're still at like 5 meters. So I was up for that, and then two police in inverted commas turned up and were quite bullshit and just like trying to push me around, and had no, I think I recognised one of them, like I think they might have been legit police, but had no badge, no numbers on them, no names, no badges, like they could have just got police outfits off Amazon, and they were just being very mouthy and like quite aggressive. So I was asking them for their like names and numbers and whatnot, and they were just enjoying the attention. I could see he was just like looking around, and like, yeah, look at me, I'm not gonna arrest him. And then, so I just went and sat calmly somewhere. Then eventually the real gendarme turned up, who were the same lads from the, or like one of them was the same, maybe both of them were, from the previous night, or whatever, the last time I got arrested. And so I went with them to the police station, and yeah, that was curtains really. And then they, got me off the island, deported me. Although I was still shy of the Monday thing, but at that point I was just like glad to be going. I think I started to see the like, it's like a nighttime, daytime thing. It's like you imagine the hangover after you've like been balls deep in a few cadavers and turned a few people into sushi. You're going to need more than a few Bloody Marys the next day to fucking fix that one. So, guess some IV drips and a bit of retail therapy, and you'll be ready to go again in the evening. And so I was pretty happy to get on the ferry, to be honest. And I then got on the ferry, and now I'm here, but more or less. And there's a whole lot of stuff missing from that story that I tell you, but that's what I've got to do now, is fill in the missing gaps. Potentially the wife of my former potential patron is the satanic. I get this wrong. It's not satanic high queen, is it? I don't know why I call it that, but like person who runs the satanic church was like the top dog bitch, whichever, on some Barts. And yeah, I thought when I thought that she was being ritually fucking murdered the night before, which was partly why that's why initially I ended up down at the boats at Baraska. Yeah, there's a whole load of things I need to write down, so I can tell a story in a less non-linear fashion, so it makes sense. But that is where I'm at. And so now, been to court, they've upheld the decision to deport me, and I don't know what I'm doing next, but I'm inclined not to say and to go with the flow. Well, I'm not going to be deported against my will. If they want to get me on a plane that I don't want to get on, they're going to have to fucking drag me. And it makes sense for me to. I don't really want to go back to the UK. Like, as much as I love it, I will go back to the UK when the time is right. But it's got to be under my own steam, and I've got to be willing to go. I can't be pushed into it because the energy's not right then. And also I felt very close to like my other half. Well, I don't feel like talking about that at the moment, but I don't really want to leave the tropics at the moment. And I don't want to go back to a country where I'm criminalised for medicating with anything really, but baby steps. Be nice to go somewhere where I can smoke the reefer without whatever, feeling that.
You cook?
No.
You don't want to smoke?
Yeah, I do. I'll come.
Okay.
I'll come.
Why do you do that?
I have to get things off my chest. yeah, so I think that's probably a good place to stop. But yeah, bless up and see you around.